The movie begins with the introduction of John, a highly skilled contract killer, known for being the most expensive hitman in the criminal underworld. After making a fortune through his assignments, John has chosen to leave behind his violent past to enjoy a quiet life with his wife, Natasha. One day, Natasha informs John that she's planning a short trip with her close friend, Nora. She asks him to look after Nora's stepdaughter, Sang-yeon, a 17-year-old girl who has been emotionally distant since her parents' divorce. Initially, John resists, pointing out that a 17-year-old can manage on her own. However, after Natasha insists repeatedly, he reluctantly agrees, though he isn't entirely comfortable with the idea of a stranger staying in his home. The next day, John drops Natasha and Nora off at the airport. Later that evening, he goes to pick up Sang-yeon from a coffee shop. However, Sang-yeon tells him she wants to stay over at a friend's house that night. John agrees, but hands her some money and discreetly slips a tracking device into her wallet so he can monitor her location. He drops Sang-yeon and her friend near a shopping mall and returns home. But around midnight, John receives a call from Sang-yeon. She sounds distressed and tells him she's experiencing severe stomach pain, urging him to come help her immediately. When John, disturbed from his sleep, arrives at the location, he finds Sang-yeon enjoying herself with her boyfriend. This sight fills him with silent rage as he realizes she tricked him just to get out of the house. He confronts her, reminding her that she said she was going to her best friend's house. But Sang-yeon ignores him, busy texting someone on her phone. Frustrated but trying to remain calm, John tells her it's time to leave. He offers to take her back to his place since her friend had earlier invited her over. As John begins to walk away, he notices that Sang-yeon is heading off somewhere with her boyfriend. Instantly, John realizes she's lied to him again. The environment around them seems shady, and John becomes increasingly concerned for her safety. Remembering the tracker in her wallet, he decides to follow her. Eventually, the tracker leads him to an isolated location. There, a girl named Na is seen telling Sang-yeon that she'll be paid $200 if she makes her client happy. It's revealed that Sang-yeon's boyfriend deliberately brought her there. Na, also known as Dona, threatens Sang-yeon, warning that she won't be allowed to leave if she refuses. As tensions rise, Donna even begins to hurl abuse at her and raises her hand to slap her. But just then, John arrives. He warns everyone that if Sang-yeon is harmed in any way, there will be consequences. Mistaking John for an ordinary man, Sang-yeon's boyfriend tries to attack him with a knife. However, John, being a trained professional, easily disarms him. A fight breaks out as the other boys join in, but John swiftly takes them all down with his expert combat skills. John orders everyone to leave the place, but suddenly Donna lunges at him with a knife. However, the attack has no effect on John. He responds by punching her, knocking her out cold. Without wasting time, John takes Sang-yeon with him and leaves the area. After witnessing what John did for her, Sang-yeon starts seeing him in a new light. Her opinion of him changes and a strong friendship begins to form between them. That night, they go out together for dinner. On their way back home, they come across a police checkpoint. Officer Lee stops John's car and begins asking questions. He informs John that a group of college students has been murdered nearby, which is why the road is under surveillance. After a brief exchange, Officer Lee allows him to pass. Later, Lee looks up information about the incident online and discovers that the murdered individuals were the same boys John had fought the previous night. Reading the news that those boys were found brutally beaten, John feels a twinge of guilt. The next morning, Officer Lee arrives at John's house to investigate further, suspecting his involvement. He shows John a piece of CCTV footage that shows his car passing near the crime scene. John, staying calm, replies that his car wasn't the only one on that road. Many other vehicles passed by too. Then Lee presents another blurry image, this one showing Sang-yeon with the same boys who were murdered. John cleverly avoids the topic, saying the image isn't clear enough to prove anything. Still, John's instincts start telling him that Officer Lee is a sharp investigator and might become a problem. After Lee leaves, Sang-yeon apologizes to John, visibly shaken and afraid. Seeing the fear on her face triggers a memory in John of a girl he had met in the past. That girl had lost all hope and was about to end her life, but John had stopped her, encouraging her to forget the past and move forward. Just then, Donna calls Sang-yeon. She also speaks to John and warns him that all the boys from the previous night are now dead, and the knife he took during the fight still has his fingerprints on it. She threatens that if she hands the weapon over to the police, John could be in serious trouble. Donna warns John that if he doesn't reach the location she mentions within an hour, she'll hand over all the evidence to the police. Hearing this threat, John agrees to meet her. Before leaving, he gives Sang-yeon a bracelet embedded with a hidden tracking device, ensuring he can find her if anything happens. Leaving her alone, John sets out to confront Donna. He arrives near a building and encounters a man named Young, Donna's cousin, who is involved in trafficking underage girls. Young orders one of his men to kill John, but John easily overpowers and defeats the attacker. He then demands the knife that has his fingerprints on it, but Donna refuses to hand it over. To pressure her, John begins torturing Young's associate, which frightens Young enough to throw the knife toward John. Just as John bends down to retrieve the knife, Young makes a run for it while firing shots at him. John quickly gives chase, armed with the same knife. Along the way, he encounters a strong fighter who challenges him, but after a fierce battle, John injures the man badly and escapes. Returning home after the encounter, John finds that intruders have broken in and kidnapped Sang-yeon. Using the tracking device in her bracelet, John locates her whereabouts. He grabs his weapons and rushes to the location, a deserted street. There, John launches a sudden assault. Seeing the attack, Donna tries to flee, but John catches her. He demands to know where Sang-yeon is. Donna threatens that if he kills her, her associates will also kill Sang-yeon, and he won't even find her body. Instead of killing her, John begins torturing Donna to extract information. Terrified, Donna finally reveals the truth. They run a human trafficking ring, abducting underage girls and selling them. A particular client had paid a large sum to acquire Sang-yeon, who is considered young and attractive. Donna admits that they supply girls as per the client's requests. When John demands to know Sang-yeon's exact location, she tells him the name of the hotel where she is being held. John also asks for the client's identity, but Donna says she doesn't know. Only her boss does. John then heads straight for the hotel. Shortly after he leaves, Officer Lee arrives at the location. While investigating, he finds Donna dead in one of the rooms. Meanwhile, John reaches the hotel and is immediately attacked by several men. As a highly skilled assassin, John takes them all down with ease. However, he discovers that Sang-yeon is not there. At that moment, a man named Yuri confronts him. Yuri, a deadly fighter associated with the Russian mafia, informs John that Sang-yeon will be shipped to Russia the next morning at 8 a.m. He tells John that he won't be able to rescue her because Yuri plans to kill him right there. John, focused on saving Sang-yeon, avoids engaging Yuri in a fight and instead tries to leave, but Yuri begins following him. A fierce and prolonged fight breaks out between John and Yuri. Since both are expert fighters, they go toe-to-toe, matching each other's skills. At the right moment, John manages to tie Yuri up with a rope and escapes by jumping out of the window. He lands on top of a car, which turns out to be Officer Lee's vehicle. Officer Lee quickly pulls a gun on John and demands he come to the station. But John, thinking fast, disarms Lee, takes control of the situation, and drives off in Lee's car to rescue Sang-yeon. Soon John arrives at the cargo port, where Sang-yeon is being prepared to be smuggled out to Russia. He spots her inside a car and immediately launches a surprise attack on the gang members holding her. John takes them down one by one and rescues Sang-yeon, but just then Jung appears and attacks. John beats him brutally and demands to know who had ordered Sang-yeon's abduction. Jung refuses to speak, so John shoots him. While searching Jung's body, John finds a phone and notices the last call was made to none other than Officer Lee. That's when it hits him. Lee is involved in the girl trafficking ring. John confronts Lee and threatens to expose everything to the media unless Lee reveals the identity of the man who's behind the entire operation. He tells Lee that if the public finds out he's a corrupt cop helping human traffickers, his career will be over. Just then, another police team arrives at the port, so Lee reluctantly agrees. He speaks to one of the officers on the scene and arranges for both John and Sang-yeon to be taken to the hospital. Later, when Sang-yeon regains consciousness, she visits John and tearfully apologizes, blaming herself for everything. John gently reassures her, saying none of it is her fault. Meanwhile, Officer Lee tells John at the hospital that he has already covered up all the killings John committed while trying to save Sang-yeon. John responds by saying he had figured out from the start that Lee worked for Donna's boss. He saw Donna's dead body hidden in the trunk of Lee's car. John explains that Lee removed her body because he knew an official investigation would eventually expose her boss. Lee is stunned to realize how much John had figured out. John then tells Lee to gather information on the Russian mafia that's behind the trafficking ring. At first, Lee refuses, worried about the risk, but he ultimately agrees, knowing John holds enough evidence to destroy his reputation. The next day, Lee contacts John and shares the location of a hotel where a man named Park is staying. Park is part of the same criminal network that abducts underage girls and traffics them to Russia. Meanwhile, Park learns that an Interpol officer has discovered his location, so he quickly begins making arrangements to flee the hotel. But before he can escape, John arrives. One by one, John eliminates all of Park's men and then brutally beats Park, demanding to know who had ordered the abduction of Sang-yeon. Park makes a call to a woman known in their criminal circle as Pig Mama, a key figure in their trafficking operation. During the call, John learns that the person who had requested Sang-yeon is none other than Judge Kim. Park then confesses that their group specializes in kidnapping underage girls and handing them over to Judge Kim. The judge selects one girl for his personal pleasure, and the rest are sold off at high prices across Russia and Asia. After extracting all the necessary information, John kills Park as well. He then makes a call summoning a specialized cleanup team. Shortly afterward, the team arrives and efficiently removes all the bodies and any trace of the massacre. Their job is to sanitize crime scenes for mafia clients, ensuring nothing is left behind that could link the crime to anyone. With the scene cleared, John visits an old associate who runs an arms business. From him, John acquires a powerful sniper rifle, gearing up for what's coming next. Soon after, Officer Lee calls John and informs him that Judge Kim, the mastermind behind the trafficking ring, is not just a judge. He's the president of the Central District Law Office and has strong ties with influential politicians. Lee admits he can't risk going against someone that powerful, but John, being a fearless and professional assassin, insists on getting the judge's address, unintimidated by political power or legal status. Lee also reveals a personal detail. Sang-yeon's biological father had died in a car accident, and since then she's been living with her stepmother. With all the information in hand, John heads to the hotel where Judge Kim is indulging himself with young women. Without hesitation, John begins picking off Kim's security guards one by one using his sniper rifle. Pig Mama had also arranged for a new girl to be sent there to please the judge. Then John storms the hotel, unleashing brutal force and eliminating everyone inside without holding back. Yuri is also at the hotel and opens fire on John, leading to an intense gunfight between them. Officer Lee is present as well, initially appearing to support John, but the moment he gets an opportunity, he turns on him and holds John at gunpoint. Yuri captures John and brings him before Judge Kim. John looks the judge in the eye and asks if he was the one who ordered Sang-yeon to be abducted. The judge responds with a mocking laugh. He then instructs Officer Lee to kill John. Lee takes John outside, but John seizes the moment and attacks him. Soon more men arrive to kill John, but he engages in a brutal battle and eliminates all of them quickly. John then tells Lee that he allowed himself to be caught on purpose, just to get close to the judge. After saying this, John kills Lee. Yuri reappears and starts shooting again, leading to a long and grueling fight. In the end, John gains the upper hand, severely injures Yuri, and ultimately kills him. Now John heads to the judge's private room. Realizing his end is near, the judge tries to bribe John with money and offers him a partnership in his human trafficking business. John coldly asks about Pig Mama, and the judge admits she's his partner in the entire operation. Once John gets all the answers he needs, he kills the judge. Meanwhile, in another scene, Natasha is seen sitting with her best friend Nora, having a conversation. Nora receives a phone call and steps into her car to take it. The call is from Judge Kim's number. It's revealed that Nora was secretly working with the judge and was involved in the trafficking of young girls. Although Sang-yeon is not her biological daughter, only her stepdaughter, Nora had planned to sell her adopted daughter for a hefty sum. All of this information had been revealed to John by Judge. After killing the judge, John uses his phone to call Nora. When Nora answers the call inside her car, it's revealed that John is already sitting quietly in the back seat, surprising her completely. Nora is shocked to see him because she had no idea that John was a professional assassin. She only knew him as someone who thought she was just an ordinary man. Believing Nora to be just another civilian, John had never suspected her involvement in such crimes. John drives Nora far away from the city. Once there, he calmly tells her that he will take care of Sang-yeon from now on. Without giving her a chance to escape, John executes her. He then calls the same specialized cleanup crew that he had used before. They arrive at the scene and efficiently remove all evidence, leaving no trace behind. After that, John returns home and embraces his wife, Natasha. It is then revealed that the girl John had saved from attempting suicide in the past was none other than Natasha herself. With that emotional closure, the story comes to an end.